Ambitious Woman TV. Yeah, Ambitious Woman TV. Queens, claim your crown. Keep your head up and never let it down. Don't minimize your brilliance, your royalty and resilience. Greatness and successes in your bloodline. So keep the faith, queen. You were created to shine. Come on. Yeah, yeah. Crown on. Welcome back to another exciting segment of Ambitious Woman Crown TV. I am so honored to have another extraordinary ambitious woman today. Not only is she a businesswoman, she is a mother of 5. Yes, you heard me correctly. 5 beautiful girls. They're all girls. So what does that mean? More ambitious women are coming. And I want to tell you, she has an extraordinary husband. Honey, her king is there for her, supporting her. But what I love the most is the fact that you're here today and you're going to share how your services can help other ambitious women.
Yes.
And we call the show Ambitious Women Crown because that's the next level. Once you become an ambitious woman, well, after a woman, you got to elevate to queen, right? So an ambitious woman is a queen that is crowned. All right, so queen, welcome.
Thank you.
I can't wait.
I love being able to be on a stage or any type of platform with you because you are just so phenomenal and you know how much I love you.
I appreciate you. I do. So listen, let me tell you what this queen does. Attorney, okay? Shane, she goes by Shane Jasmine on her social media, but Shane Young Law Group is the name of her business. And this queen is out here dominating, do you hear me, in Vegas. She also is the founder and an advocate for women. I'm going to say Ambitious Women Crown. Yeah, Ambitious Women Crown. But also women decision makers.
Yes.
Well, that's where the real bosses come out. But I want to tell you, if you're not a morning person like myself, you better be prepared to get up at 8. No, get up at 6
right.
and be there at 8. Okay, because I spoke at your last event and we were struggling. Me and Jacinth, we were like, girl, it's 8
it is early.
Now, for
breakfast.
It was breakfast. And so listen, we got to get into it. We got to talk about, your story, your journey. I just can't wait to just really dive deep. I know it, but other women, they don't know your story.
Right.
Okay, and so as they're watching this in their homes, ladies, go ahead and get your tea ready, because Shane got some tea. Okay, she's gonna tell you her heart-warming story of what was it that led you to become an attorney and to be in the specialized area. I want for you to share, exactly what it is you do and why you chose that area.
Okay. Well, thank you again for having me. I actually grew up here in Las Vegas, and my family moved here when I was 9. It was for my dad's job. He was in the airline business, and after a few years, my dad was a very savvy businessman. He decided to start his own business. So he actually purchased airplanes, hired people, including an attorney, to get his business going. And unfortunately, that attorney, with the help of some third parties, took advantage of him. And they ended up taking control of the business away. They ran the business into bankruptcy, and we lost everything. So I was very young when that happened. But, I saw this. I was the firstborn, so my dad shared a lot with me, and I learned a lot through that experience, and I saw him go through the following court battle of trying to regain his business, and then he lost that after several years. So that happened from the time that I was in middle school until I was actually in college, a sophomore in college.
Wow.
It went up to the Nevada Supreme Court, and we lost on a technicality. Basically,
that's crazy.
Yeah, a technicality. So as I was growing up and seeing, this happen within my own family, of course my dad was like, you got to go to law school. You have to avoid, these types of things. You have to be able to help people. And that's what my mom will share stories about when I was in elementary school, and she would say, like, you always bring home the strays. Like, it would be like, this friend, didn't have a place to go, or, this or that. I was always,
you were the humanitarian, right?
And so then then I saw, this opportunity with, happen with my dad, and, he was like, you can be a lawyer and you can help people. And so I thought, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And I was one of those kids that had to get straight A's, so I went through school, I graduated as a valedictorian, and then I went to college. I went to Pepperdine University, in Malibu, which is a terrible campus, like on the beach
Malibu,
and everything, right?
Right.
But I went there, I graduated in 3 years with honors.
Go ahead, Shay.
Which was also a blessing because when I graduated, I was 5 months pregnant.
With twins.
So that was not part of our plan, but it worked out. We ended up coming back home where both of our families are. And I stayed home with them for a year. I started law school on their first birthday, and they'll actually be turning 22 this year. So I can't believe.
21 years, Shane?
Yes. I can't believe it's been that many years.
Oh my goodness. And you do not look like you got 21-year-olds.
Oh, well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wow.
But so all those years ago, went to law school and got the job at the big firm, and I thought, okay, I was the first attorney in my family. So everyone was very, very proud, my family, my husband's family, we're all one family, of course. And I went off, I was at the big law firm, and I was doing business, working, basically representing businesses primarily, and litigation, so people that were fighting. Even though I was good at it, I didn't enjoy it, and I didn't feel like, I wasn't fulfilling my calling.
You weren't connected to that, right? Yes.
It was very disconnected.
Yes. Okay.
Very, very disconnected. So I did stay in private practice with 2 large firms for about 10 years because I felt like I needed to learn how to be a lawyer, before I went off and, tried anything else. And then I was working as a general counsel for a financial services company that also was a custodian of accounts. So I was seeing then where people were passing away and their family members were trying to figure out what to do, and then they were calling me because they thought like, oh, you're an attorney, and your company holds my parents or whoever's accounts, and like, what do I do? And I saw that even throughout my career as an attorney. Actually, my first pro bono case as a first-year attorney was a family. I was representing a family whose father had passed away. I was representing the daughter, and he actually had an estate plan, so we can talk about what that is, but he had a trust, and the family ended up still in court, and they didn't know, why that was happening, because he had said, don't worry, I did my estate plan, everything's taken care of, you don't have to worry, and unfortunately things weren't done properly. So I saw that as right out of law school, and I thought, oh wow, like this is an area that really touches everyone's life. We all deal with loss or even accidents and things like that. And I was seeing throughout my legal career, and then also within my own family, when people don't properly plan. So when I had the opportunity in 2017 to open my own law firm, we took that opportunity, and that was really one of the greatest blessings of our life, because I am able to work with my husband. We're high school sweethearts. We've got not only the twins, but the 5 girls. We had 3 more daughters after the twins. Okay. And now we're able to work together as a family, helping other families, helping business owners like ourselves. I think one of the reasons why we have been successful in what we do is because it's what we do. It's who we are. Just like with you, you're so connected and so passionate about the work that you do, and it comes through. And we've been very, very fortunate to be very involved in the community and do educational events and offer a lot of resources, and really just trying to reach the community that is often overlooked.
I love it.
And make sure that everyone has the information to be able to make good decisions.
I really love that, because it's something you don't think about until it happens.
Right.
And you're like, oh my goodness. And my schedule has been so crazy. I know we were supposed to get together prior to my husband passing away, Ambitious Women. And when I tell you, I know Shane was like, I told you. And I'm like, my only saving grace is we really didn't have like children, things like that together. But it makes me think, because I'm like, if I ever get married again, that's something you definitely want to have in place. Because it's other assets and properties and things that definitely you want to make sure you protect.
And also, even if you didn't remarry,
Right.
but just you,
For my
like,
children.
yeah, your children, you've built a legacy. You
Absolutely.
have assets, you have an estate, and that's actually a common misconception.
Yes.
A lot of people think, oh, well, I have to have millions of dollars, or I have to be
Yes.
older, or I have to have kids, or I have, all these things, and you really, all you have to have is be a legal adult.
That's it.
If you're over
Right.
18, you need
You've
to
got
have
some
some type.
assets.
Yeah, you've got something. You've got, even if it's not a lot of financial wealth, because most young people don't have that accumulated as of yet. But even my oldest daughters, they're in college. They don't really have assets yet. They don't have a lot of money, but they do have their decisions and
Gotcha.
their well-being. So a lot of parents of young adult children take it for granted, and they don't realize that when your children turn 18, they need to have some type of planning in place, because if they don't, if they're in an accident, God forbid,
Right.
you, just because you're their parent, doesn't allow you to step in
Wow.
automatically,
Now,
because
see,
they have
that
to.
is
yeah.
a huge misconception, because you would
Yeah.
think, well, I'm the parent, so
Right.
I'm going to be able to have,
Right.
the power to be able to take, whatever it is that they may own.
Right.
I'm next of kin, is what a lot of people say.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
the next of kin.
Right.
But it doesn't work like
It doesn't work that way. So if they have not legally
Wow.
appointed you, then you have to basically be appointed by a judge.
Oh, my
So you have to
goodness.
petition. Same thing with people that are married.
Right.
You presume that, okay, well, I'm married, so if anything happens to me, my spouse
Yeah.
will just be able to go, handle things. And that's actually not true. And think about
Wow.
why, right? Because sometimes people get married, but then they might become separated. Would you want your estranged spouse to be the one that makes medical decisions or end of life decisions,
Wow.
whether you stay on life support or not, especially when they're probably still named on your life insurance?
Is that
Those are
crazy?
things that we
Yes.
talk about, making sure holistically that we're looking at everything. So whether you have kids, or you're married, or you're single, or you're you have unique circumstances, different dynamics. Everyone is unique.
Yes.
And so that's why it's really important that you don't rely on things like cookie cutter documents or form documents, or even working with the traditional lawyers.
Yes.
It's very much a transactional experience traditionally as far
Yeah.
as estate planning. So we do approach things differently, where we want to make sure that we understand, your specifics, what's happening in your life, the things that are important to you,
Yes.
and educating you so that you can make sure that you avoid the common mistakes that people make.
Wow. And let's talk about wills. Most people think, well, I got a will, I'm good. I don't need to go ahead and get all that extra stuff.
Right.
Are they really good, Shay?
No, so that's another, there's so many common misconceptions when it comes to estate planning. So when we talk about a will, that can be a component, right? A component of an estate plan. But a will is not enough if you are wanting to stay out of court. So what a will is really just a document that addresses the disposition of your assets. So it says who gets what. That's it.
Okay.
When someone dies and they only have a will, it gets filed with the probate court, and it becomes a public record. So this is something that a lot of people don't realize, right?
Oh my
becomes
goodness.
a public record, and anyone can go and see what
all
assets,
your business.
yes, who your family members, who your heirs
How
are,
much money you got in the account. Oh, my goodness.
Yes, their personal information, their home addresses,
What?
things like yes.
All that is filed publicly?
Yes, it's a public record. So
Wow.
a will does not keep you out of court. So many people think like, oh yeah, I've got everything set. I've got a will. It says that the stuff
And you
goes to my
thinking you're
family.
protecting them, and really the will is putting everybody's business out.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Won't he do it?
Yes.
Listen,
Yes.
girl. And I was going to ask you, girl, I'm like, Shane, I'm going to come in and get my, but we ain't doing no will.
Yeah. Well, we are going to do one, but we're
Wait,
gonna
Shane, I want everybody to know my business. Oh, you
Okay.
gonna, but she going to hook
in
it up.
connection, yes.
She going to
with
hook it
other
up where all my
things.
business not out there.
Yes.
Bitches.
Yeah. So,
I'm like, listen,
yes.
this
It's
is why you
part of
got to
your
have the
plan.
right, ambitious woman to
Yes.
handle your affairs.
Yes.
Okay? So I know, listen, we got
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
part of your plan, but really what you need and what most people need is, additional pieces, right? So when we talk about estate planning, it's not just a will, it's not just a trust, it's not just, these different pieces. It's a comprehensive, or it should be, a comprehensive plan that really addresses all of the possible contingencies. So, if you're in an accident, if you're hospitalized, disabled, incapacitated, regulated, and you can't make your own decisions. You know, who can step in and talk to your doctors? Who can get access to your medical records? Who can make your medical decisions? And what are those decisions that you would want made? You know, end of life decisions, whether you're on life support,
Right.
you know, whether you receive any type of treatment. Who takes care of your kids if you have minor children, your pets? Who makes your financial decisions? Who goes to the bank for you if you can't do those things, pays your bills? And then, of course, what happens to your assets, right?
Yes.
If something, if you pass away. So, you know, making sure that all of those things are properly addressed is really what estate planning is. So your plan is going to look different than, you know, someone else's plan, or you know, everyone's plan is going to be unique. It's going to be
unique
specific,
based upon what we have, you know, currently, and
and
if
what's
you have
important.
kids, not kids.
Yeah. And what's
Pets, are
important to
pets
know.
in there too? People put stuff in there for their pets?
Yeah, so sometimes, you know, people may not have, you know, relatives or family members or children, and so they'll want to make sure, you know, that their pets are taken care of. So we can do pet trusts, we
Cute
do
is
pet,
that?
pets protection planning, just like how we do kids protection planning.
Wow.
Making sure that your kids don't go into CPS, you know, into the care of strangers. Something
right.
happens to you. That's another common thing. A lot of, you know, young families or families that have minor children take for granted. They think like, oh yeah, well, you know, we go to church and we have godparents appointed, you know, for our children. So, you know, they think that things are covered, but in an emergency, you know, on date night is a you know, story that I tell, like, but if, you know, the parents go out and they don't make it home, if there's not a proper legal plan in place, your children can be taken out of your home into the care of the state until a proper guardian is appointed by the judge. So if you haven't taken the legal steps to appoint those godparents or those other family members to serve as legal guardians, then you're leaving it really to a judge. And that's where it invites conflict, because family members, you know, that you may not want taking care of your kids may say, well, you know, I'm this person or I'm that, or this is, you know, my niece, nephew, grandchild.
Man. Oh my golly.
So
That
it's all
is
those
really
things.
scary.
Right.
There's a story I want to tell, and when you were speaking about, you know, what if you are on life support or something happens. So there was one of my clients that actually had a brother that she, you know, they didn't have a relationship with. And their father ended up getting a phone call from the hospital that, mind you, they haven't seen him in at least 10, 15 years. Okay? When the father got the phone call, he was shocked. And he was like, wait a minute. First of all, I've been looking for my son all these years. How did you know?
Right.
How did you know how to find me? Did you know that what was really interesting, the hospitals will pull credit reports on you to see who is your next of kin? Because, mind you, this individual is in the hospital.
Right.
Unconscious. They don't know to pull the plug or not. So then the father, which is really interesting, that's why I want to tell this story, Ambitious Women, hasn't seen his son in over 10 years. How do you make that decision to pull the plug on a child you don't even know?
Yeah. And that's the thing. You just don't know. Yeah. And that's one of the stories, or similar type of story that I share, like Terry Schiavo. Do you remember that one? That was a right to die case, you know, back it started in the 90s. So she actually had some documents in place. She had a healthcare directive that actually listed her spouse as her agent to be the one that would step in and make decisions. However, when she was incapacitated, she was basically being kept alive on a feeding tube. She wasn't on life support, but this feeding tube, artificial hydration and nutrition, was keeping her alive, but she was in a vegetative state.
Wow.
So her spouse decided, okay, this is not what she would have wanted. This is not the quality of life that she would want to continue with, so I'm going to remove the feeding tube.
Right.
Well, her parents objected and took him to court.
Wow.
Filed immediately, took him to court. The judge immediately ruled or ordered to have the feeding tube be replaced. And so she was kept alive on this feeding tube for almost 8 years while the family fought in court, all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. Ultimately, her spouse was granted the ability.
And the medical bill on that.
Right. So that's the thing. The medical
8
expenses,
years.
the legal expenses. And she had a document. I'm sure she thought that
Yeah.
this document would
That
would
was
handle
enough.
that. Yeah. But unfortunately, most documents are not
Sufficient
properly,
enough.
yeah, they're
Oh.
not properly drafted. They're missing provisions. They might be type of like cookie cutter or cut and paste documents. So you really want to make sure that your plan is specific. It needs to be customized to you. And that's also where a lot of people think like, oh, we can go online and do these
Yes.
things. We
Yeah.
live in this virtual world and everything should be available
Right.
to do.
Or what is it?
But-
LegalZoom.com.
Yes.
Let me go ahead and do my will.
No, don't do that, please.
Oh.
But yeah, a lot of people think like, oh, this is very simple, and it's not. There's so many details that need to be properly addressed, and doing it the traditional way or even online is just not going to protect you the way that you should be protected.
So what would you say, because we only have a few minutes remaining, for an ambitious woman that's, building her business, she's out there, really excited about life, what would be the most important things from a business aspect that she needs to protect? Or I would say, preserve for her legacy, right? To give to her future generations.
Right.
What are maybe, let's say, I know it's a lot.
Yeah.
But
I
the
know, I'm
top
thinking
two-
like,
right,
what's
right.
the top things to
Yeah,
say?
what are
Yeah.
the top things that, women that come to see you?
Right.
Say, look, I need this protected, or passed on.
Right. So when it comes to businesses, there's a couple of components because usually your business is your biggest asset, and you want to make sure that those assets go to your family. And then the other component of that is making sure that if you're not here to run your business, that you have a business succession plan. So that's a whole other conversation that we would get
Yes.
into.
Yes.
But I think to get started, what you women can do is start the process of getting educated. So one of the things that I offer is a free webinar. It's an on-demand webinar located at younglawlive.com. So it's 60 minutes. It's totally worth your time. I do share a little bit about, my experience and my background, some of the things that we talked about today. But then we also really get into the nuts and bolts of estate planning. It's kind of like estate planning 101.
Yeah.
These are the things that you should be aware of. These are the things you should be thinking about. If you've got these types of considerations, these are the things that you can do now to protect yourself. And then the step from there, after you kind of have that baseline, is you can schedule a family wealth planning session. So once you watch the webinar, then you can schedule actually a complimentary session with my firm. So you get a one-on-one meeting with an attorney to talk about your specific wishes, the questions that you have, the things that are important to you, so that we can then guide you to look at the options that are available. And really it's about educating so that you know what things that you want to be considering and as part of your plan, and then we're able to make recommendations and say, okay, well, based on what's important to you, here are the things that we would recommend, and then you have the opportunity to say, okay, yeah, I want to do this or I want to do that, and we basically build your plan according to what you want.
Love it. I love it so much. And these are the things, as queens, we have to make sure that we have in position. And so this is why I felt it was really important to bring you onto Ambitious Women Crown TV. So we can think about the future. Right now, usually we're thinking of, okay, I got this today and that today.
Yes.
But we all got an expiration date, queens.
Yes.
And are we prepared for that date? And so I have to book my appointment to
Yes.
get prepared.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it.
I know it. I got to get prepared. But
Yes.
I appreciate you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Pouring into the ambitious women, allowing us to really think beyond today.
Yes.
And so go ahead and plug. Do you have any special events coming up?
Well, actually, the next WDM breakfast, the Women Decision Makers Breakfast, is going to be May 25th.
Yes.
So it's actually going to be at 9 this time, so it's a little bit
hallelujah.
later.
Thank you, God.
And
She giving me some grace.
and it's going to be at SAC.
Sats, I
Yes.
seen that. I was like, oh, I'm coming through.
Yes.
Yes.
So that'll be a fun event.
I can't wait.
YLGWDM is the website. So YLGWDM.com. You can register there, ladies. So if you can't attend in person, if you're not here in Las Vegas, Vegas. We will be broadcasting it live virtually from our Facebook group, Women Decision Makers. So send a request if you are not part of that, and we can add you. And then, of course, our website for the law firm is younglawlive.com, and that's where you can get access to the on-demand webinar and all of the other resources. You can also schedule a complimentary session there, or you can call my office at 702-473-5600.
Wonderful. Well, listen, we have had a good time, and I know it's so much more we got to get into, but yes. I want to just personally thank you for taking this time.
Thank you.
To make us wiser business women and mothers and wives, because we wear so many hats.
Yes.
And it's really something that I know a lot of us overlook, because I was the one who overlooked it. Do not do what I did, ambitious women. Okay, I want for you to be better prepared. And also, as single women, I'm thinking, well, when I get my next husband, she's like, girl, you better get it together now.
Right
you got
now.
Kids and a dog.
Yes.
Don't wait. Don't delay. Yes. It's been a pleasure. And so, yeah.
It's my pleasure.
Make sure that you connect with her, follow her on social media, Queens, and definitely join the group. And it's also, I want to tell them, complimentary to come on May 9th. Was it the 9th?
The 25th. At 9 a.m.
That's where I got the 9 from. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and close. I want to say thank you for tuning in to Ambitious Women Crown TV. Crown on. Ambitious Woman TV. Yeah, Ambitious Woman TV. Queens, claim your crown. Keep your head up and never let it down. Don't minimize your brilliance, your royalty and resilience. Greatness and successes in your bloodline. So keep the faith, Queen. You were created to shine. Come on. Yeah, yeah. Crown on.